Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in on our first spring, actually, or first open office hours for the spring. My goodness. I think law. My name is Tabitha. I am your partner success manager. Just because over to the left, that's your director of partner success. Together, we share email support@thinklaw.us. So after this time together, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Remember, we are here to help you along your journey. We know that time is of the essence, and sometimes things don't come at ease. So please use us as an additional resource. Today, we're going to go over some question and answers. Some of you all sent in some questions ahead of time, so I'm going to get to those. Give you the opportunity to ask any other questions in the meantime or after those. And then we're also going to look at what's new with ThinkLaw. So I'm hoping after this time together, we'll be able to ask any questions to better help prepare you for incorporating ThinkLaw into your learning environment, but also find out what's new with ThinkLaw and the portal and how you could use those additional resources. If you have any questions in the process of us doing this question and answer open office hour, please don't hesitate to stop me. I want to make sure that you leave with what you need so that you can be better successful when it comes to servicing your students. So for thinkPortal, just a quick little recap of what the thinkPortal is. It's a digital resource. It has over 600 instructional resources. You can search these lessons by the grade level, the instructional needs, the topic, theme, keyword. We also have in the Think library as well some different themes that are pulled out for you to make it a little bit easier for you to find the lessons that fit your theme of what you're wanting to teach. All of our lessons include your teacher guide, your student sheets, your slide decks, and then communication to send home. It's also starting to be incorporated in the new lessons that have come out. And so I think our method is one, we want to make it easy. We also want to make it engaging. We hear your comments and saying, oh, this lesson works so well. So continue to send those through. Those that just let us know, like, hey, what we're doing is good. And if you have any suggestions or feedback, send those as well. We want to make sure that we hear those out. And if we're able to incorporate it quickly and easily, we'll definitely are open to doing that. And then the other 2 points of our Think Loud method is that we want to ground our work into critical thinking, right? And that we're on the side of fairness and justice. And so I think we're going to go into what Think Law is versus what Think Law is not. I think when people hear Think Law, they say, what is this? I know we have some new users here. We have some seasoned users as well. So just so we're all on the same page, what Think Law is, it does have what we are pre-made resources. Pre-made resources and tailorable strategies that you can immediately embed into your existing instruction. Engaging in culturally responsive resources to mandate joy in your learning environment. Content and grade level agnostics as well. And then also that the lessons there are editable and tailorable as well. So that you are able to service your students based on their needs in your learning environment. And some things of what Think Law is not. Think Law is not a list of questions where you're right and wrong. We're kind of getting away with the right and wrong questions, a yes or no, right? And so we also want to, what it's not is the lessons that require much background from your students or from educators in general, sequential set of lessons, and a sit and get curriculum. We are big on keeping our lessons engaged, and we're big on keeping that discussion and giving your students the opportunity to zone in on what their opinions are, why they feel the way they feel, look at other perspectives. And so sit and get curriculum just does not do that. So we're going to jump into the part 1 of the questions and answers. Again, if you have any questions that are not the ones that are popping up on your screen in the tablet, please send it in a chat or pause, stop me, come off mute, so that we can get those answered as well. And so for our first question, we actually got this one off of Facebook. If you're not in our community, please join us. Towards the end, I'll give you the little QR code so that you can click it or scan it, click and join us so that you're able to see what other educators are doing out there as well when they use Think Live in learning environments. So for the first question is there a particular order you recommend teaching in categories? For example, is it better to introduce legal writing before asking and answering questions, etc.? And the answer to that is there's no particular order, just like there's no particular order in doing lessons, there's no particular order in introducing your strategies. All the strategies are geared towards different skills. And so, for instance, your introduction to legal writing, that's your draw plus C. And so, pretty much that's a writing framework, right? And so, your students are able to apply the method to write an argumentative writing piece. So, if writing is a big thing for you right now, definitely check out that strategy. The structure can be used to write paragraphs or an essay, but it can also be used as a quick exit ticket. I know we're really big on exit tickets. We want to know what that feedback is. Did our students grasp it immediately, right? And so therefore, going over to asking and answering questions, again, every strategy is meant for different skills. So with that strategy in particular, your students will focus on asking and evaluating probing questions to gain the information and understanding. So a lot of our students, they kind of get scared or it's a little bit uncomfortable to get them to ask those questions. And so if you want to focus in on how can I get my students to ask questions when they get stuck, how can they ask those informed questions, those probing questions, get all the information they need before they get to their solution? So again, check out those two strategies. We do have some other strategies embedded into the portal as well. Again, they're all meant for different skills, just based on what you need. There is no particular category that you have to focus on first, just like the lessons. You can start from anywhere based on what your students need and what you are wanting to introduce to them. And so I'm going to move on to that second question. Are the resources to keep the class discussion going when our students go home? And the answer to it is yes, finally. And so what you'll notice in the new lessons is that you'll notice a home connection piece. And in that home connection piece, pretty much it's not like your traditional homework. It is something that you can send out through print and send it out like in the little Friday folders or whatever folder that you send out for the communication. You can email it as well. But what it does is it continues that conversation from school to home. A lot of our parents ask the question of, what did you learn today? What happened today in school, right? And so that is a great resource for you to send home to kind of help your parents guide the conversation, to dig a little bit deeper, to understand what their students are learning in the classroom, and then to connect it to places and backgrounds that may happen at home. You may go over a certain lesson and their family may be on the couch watching TV and they have that aha moment like, oh my gosh, we talked about this. We talked about this and this is what we talked about. And then parents are able to actually get like a point of view from that student of what's going on in the classroom. So I'm going to pause here, see if we have any questions in the comments, and then we'll move over to that part two of what's new with Think Law. Right, doesn't seem like we have um any new questions so far. So let's go ahead and keep going again. Please stop me if you do have any questions. I want to make sure that this time that we have together, you walk away with what you need, not just what you need, but also your students, right? That's the most important piece. So let's jump into the part two. What's new with Think Law? I know that testing period is here, and we are focusing on those standardized tests. We want to know what our students learn throughout the year. So we do have a strategy highlight. It's not a new strategy. It's called mistake analysis, where you pretty much just introduce two wrong answers, but your students decide which answer is better and why, right? And so with this, when we connect it to the testing assessment, standardized testings, you can use this in algebra as you see here with those lessons. And it's, you notice here that these are algebra equations in this lesson, but they're both wrong. And so, instead of just giving them like a worksheet and practicing and practicing and practicing, students actually determine like, one, what is wrong with the answer? But two, also, why is this answer more better than the other? So it's a really cool strategy that you can use. Again, I really love the strategy for your testing period, but you can use this throughout all areas of your curriculum. And so another one you can use this is when you're looking at ELA or something along along those lines. You can use this for social studies. You can use this for science. And so, for instance, for ELA, if you're looking at three paragraphs, right, where one has bad grammar, the other one maybe is poor organization, and one is technically perfect. The sentence stems is perfect. The sentence choice, the punctuation, everything like that is perfect, but they fail to answer the question. And so again, students decide which answer is more better. You'll definitely see a lot of drama when they get to arguing their reason of why they chose that answer and why that person deserves that credit. So again, this is called your mistake analysis. We have other strategies that you can try. Earlier, we mentioned someone mentioned the asking questions, asking better questions, and what was the other one? Asking and answering questions, sorry, and then introducing the legal framework, which is your writing framework. So check those out. Those are three strategies that we've already looked at so far. And then we're going to jump into some new things that are going on into the portal that you may not have caught. So the first one is going to be the math labs. Your math labs has everything that your normal lessons have as far as like your teacher guide, your student guide, home connection piece, extension that you can send home. But what I think I love most about these math labs is coming from a former math teacher is that these are not your typical lessons. These are not your typical math lessons. They're here to help your students gain the math confidence during the moments where those questions get a little tough and they get a little tuck, they get a little stuck. And so with those lessons, they cover topics from fractions, area, finances, those sort of things. But I think it's really important that when they're looking at these questions, they say, oh my gosh, I'm stuck. What can I do now, right? What questions do I need to ask myself to push myself through to get to the answer? So again, you can search in the search bar of the thinkPortal Math Lab, and you're gonna get a small database of some Math Lab lessons that you can use with your students. Again, these are not your normal traditional sit and get math lessons. Yes, they do cover math topics, but again, we want to make sure that those students or your students are equipped with the skills to kind of get them through those tough moments. And in the end, it does build that confidence when they're working with those math problems. Another thing that I want to highlight that is new is that home connection. Home connection is not going to be in all of your lessons. They're mostly in your newer lessons that are coming out. We noticed that students struggle to verbalize what they did in school again, right? Going back to how was your day? What did you do in school? So what home connection does, it provides both the student, but not just the student, but the family members with the necessarily context to have that conversation about the lesson. You definitely want to send these home. So definitely a time to get your parents involved, keeping that conversation going where that conversation doesn't just end in the classroom itself or in your learning environment. Again, it's not your traditional homework, but these are quick and easy, 30, 45 minutes tops. Not all sections need to be filled out and done. You can just simply have a conversation and say, come back and let me know how it was, right? And start that conversation back up in the morning, maybe even during advisory period, or at some point along your day to continue that conversation. Teachers can highlight questions that you really want to ensure that families discuss, which is really great. We do give you a variety of things that you can ask, but I think this is a really important piece. It bridges that gap between the classroom and home, where that home connection does, which is kind of difficult, right? When we think about what happens when our students leave our learning environment. So it definitely gets the kids, the students discussing school, critical thinking at home. It gives that connection to families. It provides the prompts, it encourages them to share from their perspective, from their peers' perspectives. And then it also allows the students to facilitate the conversations, which they don't get a lot of chances or opportunities to do that. So please check out the home connection. You can search again, home connection in the search bar in the thinkPortal, and it's going to pull up a few lessons or your database full of lessons that are connected to home connection. Any questions so far? I just want to make sure I check in. I know sometimes I can be a little speedy Gonzalez. So I want to make sure that you do get your answers or your questions answered. All right, let's hop on over to your Spanish lessons. Spanish lessons have been out for quite a few months. It's still catching word out there that we have added lessons in Spanish. Again, not all of our lessons have been transcribed to Spanish, but quite a few of them have. So if you have your ESL students, or if you have a mix of students and you want to ensure that those students also get that opportunity to be engaged and to work on those critical thinking skills, you now have that access in the Think Portal to do that. You can just search Espanol or you can search Spanish, and it's going to give you a mini catalog of Spanish lesson. And it covers a wide range of exciting topics. So you can continue to develop critical thinking skills, explore some new concepts, engage in some materials in the language that suits your students. And so our bilingual offerings make learning more accessible. One, again, going back to our Think Law method, engaging and fun, not just for your students, but also for you, right? When your students have fun, you typically have fun. So again, you can find these Spanish lessons when you type Spanish or Espanol into the search bar. Not only does it give you your students guide, but it also has the PowerPoints as well in Spanish, so they're not missing any pieces. And so again, we're gonna move through some keyword search. We heard you and we understand that sometimes when you're searching for lessons, it can be a tad bit difficult. And so what we're doing is we're adding in some additional keywords that you can use to pull up some lessons that work for you. So again, we looked at that math lab. If you search math lab, it's gonna pull up those new math lessons. Math is all things math related. Science is going to be all things science related and so forth. Social studies, health, it's going to be like your PE health related lessons. SEL is a big one. I know sometimes we search social emotional learning and it may not pop up, but if you search SEL for sure, you're going to find that big database of lessons that focus on the social emotional learning aspect as well. And then again, we just talked about the home connection. If you search that home connection, the lessons that have an extension piece that you can send home to any of that conversation. So that's a really big piece in the portal that has been added. We are constantly adding new keyword search to make it easy for you to find those lessons that you need to better service your students. And so I want to just jump into some easy wins that you can try. Your jury deliberation, informed opinion games, neither one of these are new. For your jury deliberations, they're meant to be quick. Your 20 minutes, variety of level 3, level 4 strategies, and they focus on the current events. Again, as educators, time is of the essence, and there's just not enough minutes in the hour, not enough hours in the days. And so we always get that. I really want to try Think Law. I really want to put it embedded into my curriculum, but I just don't have enough time. Start off with those jury deliberations. Again, it's not anything new that's in the portal, but it's something that is constantly catching wind, especially when it comes to that piece of being fast, engaging, and then focus on the current events. Another great thing that you can introduce is your informed opinion games. It's not anything new, but a lot of our users don't know about it. So I really, really want to highlight it. With your informed opinion game, it's basically clickbait headlines that you can search yourself and you can continue to research afterwards. And so your students get in the habit of asking questions, right? Going back to probing questions. What questions do I need to ask myself in order to make an informed opinion about what I'm reading? And so we do have versions in both for your upper grade levels and also your lower grade levels as well. Your lower grade levels is just gave you some like a few examples at the bottom. It's going to give you some different scenarios. Whereas for your upper grade levels, it's going to actually give you those clickbait headlines where you can actually search if you want to continue that topic going forward or continue to research into the topic and really decide, well, what is this actually talking about? Because more than likely, when you just read the headline, it's not really what the text is going to tell you. It's just something to get you to kind of click on it, right? Which is the whole thing of making it clickbait. So again, check that out, your informed opinion, your lower level grade levels. Look at the version 1. We have versions all the way up to, I think, 11 or 12 maybe. We do not run out of these informed opinion games. There's always new things that are going on in the world. There's always new clickbait. clickbait headlines. And so we're constantly adding them and constantly adding them. So please check those out. Let us know how those go and how they work for your students. You can use this in small groups, one-on-one, whole groups, writing prompts. There's so many different ways that you can use these informed opinion games. And then moving over to finding your resources. Again, you can find those resources through your keyword, through your lesson types. You can use it through your themes. And then we also have Think Law in your existing lesson. I'm going to drop the link as well. But what you'll find with this link is that it's going to give you different areas, core subjects where you can incorporate Think Law. So if you teach science, we'll give you a few ideas of how you can incorporate Think Law in your science class, social studies class, math class, and so forth. It's a really great place to start, a really great tool to use, especially for my new users that are out there who want to kind of feel more at ease when introducing a new curriculum and have it connect to your existing curriculum. So please check that out. Again, keywords, lesson type themes, think about in your existing lessons. I cannot highlight and stress that page enough. I'll send that link out as well, so it'll get you directly there. Yeah. So I'll pause here, see if there's any questions. If there are not any questions, I'm going to give you back a little bit of time. This has been a great few minutes, or lots of minutes, I should say, together. I hope we really got some good information, some good feedback, some nice suggestions that you can try in your future when you're working with your students in your different learning environments. We don't have any questions just yet. So I'm going to move over to our Facebook, that QR code that I promised you that I will show you in the beginning when we first met. So our Facebook Think Law Tangible Equity community, it's a great place for you to connect with Think Law educators worldwide, because we do have educators using this across the world. It's a great place for you to ask questions and share ideas. Discussion prompts are posted weekly with related current events that you can bring into your instruction. We here at Think Law are experts when using Think Law, but I really like to think that you as the user who are using it with students on an everyday basis or every week basis, who really get that firsthand experience, you truly are our Think Law experts. And so we want to see what's going on out there, especially for me who don't get the opportunity to kind of peek into a classroom and see what's going on, or other educators and coordinators and things like that. They don't get the opportunity to look into your particular class, your specific class, and see what great things are going on. So again, scan that QR code, join us on Facebook. So I Think Law Tangible Equity community. It is a beautiful community to join. And if you have any questions after this, it's a great place to start.